My name is Karen Gopal, and previously I was a coordinator involved in geriatric clinical trials with a focus on dementia. Currently, I am a research ethics officer and I provide review of research submissions, which definitely include clinical trials that come to our office for ethical oversight.
My name is Alyssa Tay. I am a oncology clinical trials research nurse at Trillium Health Partners, in particular at Credit Valley Hospital site. And I am involved in clinical trials as a nurse, so I do a lot of the patient assessments and interactions. One of the things that we really focus on for ourselves, besides the assessment part as a nurse, is also having discussions with patients and supporting them throughout the clinical trials process.
I wanted to contribute to creating this best practices toolkit because if I look at it from a coordinator's perspective, it's always beneficial to have guidance into how to recruit and maintain participants, as well as having direction on or ideas to ensure participants know that their contribution to our trial is beneficial and relevant. From an ethics officer's perspective, we see a lot of submissions and they have the potential to benefit so many individuals. And at least for me, I hope this toolkit would provide guidance to sites for a mutual benefit to ensure the success of a trial.
So one of the reasons that I wanted to contribute to building and developing this toolkit is, especially when I first started in clinical trials, I think there was a lot of things that I didn't really know, despite having at the time about 4 years of experience in research, outside of nursing practice. I think that because it was so different from my previous experience as a bedside nurse, there were a lot of things that I would have liked to be aware of, not only for my own practice and informing how I was practicing as a clinical trials nurse, but also how that would affect the patient experience.
The toolkit can be applied in practice from an ethics review perspective. So, for example, the plain language summaries in the letter of information, ensuring content and formatting are non-technical, looking at the ways researchers plan on thanking their participants or the planned reimbursements. These are all information that the RAB can and will use in order to provide feedback to the sites. All this information is within the toolkit for guidance. So I think that the toolkit is definitely beneficial at all levels of a clinical trial.
One of the things that I thought was very useful, I'd have to say, was the patient information and support topic area, just because with a lot of patients, especially the ones that we speak to that are, it's a very new diagnosis for them. Again, just looking at my oncology background, because it's so new to them. And a lot of the times when they hear clinical trials in the context of oncology, the thought is it's a very desperate place to be. Sometimes I think of it as like a last ditch effort, that there's no hope, that there's nothing else for them, so they choose a clinical trial. But one of the things that we want them to be aware of is the fact that it's one of several options for them. It's not the only option. And also just, how they navigate through being on a clinical trial. So supporting them, not only looking at clinical trials at our site, but also, some patients have the opportunity to look at different options at different sites. So for example, looking at the participant information and support topic area on the toolkit, I think it's important that patients know that even if they're being presented, let's just say 3 different options at our site, for example, at Credit Valley, there are other options for them. For example, at Princess Margaret, they have a lot of different clinical trials. So for example, we might focus on phase 3 trials at Credit Valley, but Princess Margaret may have phase 1 and 2 trials open that's available to the patient. So I think it's important that they know what their options are.